Welcome to Deep Thought. Many people are connecting during this crisis. Now, in my previous podcast, I said always seek out truth. And one of the best ways to seek out truth is pay attention to what you actually see. Pay attention to actually what you see. What's right in front of you? One of the things I've been paying attention to is people. Now, despite many people being, voluntarily locking themselves down, staying in their home, there are many people who are not doing that. I'm seeing more people run down the street. They going out jogging and all of that. I've seen more couples together than I usually would. Seriously, it'd be extremely rare I see couples together walking along doing whatever. It'd be rare I see families together, like in the grocery stores and, places like Walmart and Target that are still open. I'm seeing whole families together, all right? I'm seeing men and especially the men and women connecting. Where I live, I'm seeing a mother connect with her child in a way I had never seen. Usually I just see her taking her child to school and stuff. But they were out on the sidewalk, just like playing, And I'm noticing more people are generally friendly when they look in somebody in the eye. It's not of fear or the usual stuff we used to get. They're actually looking people in the eye. I know there's a lot of people they see in the negative, and there's plenty of negatives. Even though the survival rate is in the 90s for this thing, there's still some people dying, because especially if these people have a pre-existing condition, right? A pre-existing condition, which in terms of seeking out truth, getting back to that one I did previously, I saw in Italy, I saw something that said 99% of the people who, died from the virus had some pre-existing condition. We need to be looking at all of that. That's a very important thing. People who have pre-existing conditions, they need to be especially vigilant during this time. Especially. They need to self-quarantine as best as possible. Because I saw that seeking out truth. But besides that, I'm seeing people being friendlier. I'm still seeing people hugging. They connecting. Because one of the things, when stuff like this happens, and it doesn't have to be the virus. It could be a hurricane, a natural disaster, something. It does something to people. Because one of the things is we do live in a machine culture. We do live in a machine culture. More people. It's normal to see people. They could be at the restaurants when they were still open, and people on dates, but they both got their devices out. Like everybody at the table got their devices out, or walking down the street, or people just to and fro. Now that many people can't work, or they can't take the kids to school, they got to stay. All of a sudden, I'm seeing people connect on a different level. In fact, there's been many jokes about a bunch of children being born in December. I don't think it's a joke. Because when I'm looking at these couples, I'm seeing a different energy from them. This is the Deep Thought channel, so we can talk about energy. It's not a business thing. They casually walking, they exercising together. They probably talking. You probably got people talking within their families more than they ever did. Like I've seen people be at restaurants and they just eating. They ain't really communicating. Now they at home. Now they got to cook. People probably developing some skills, people skills. They forced to interact. This whole thing is forcing people to look in a different way at everything. That's very important, And I know I said in a previous podcast, I ain't getting into the conspiracy part of it, but there's one thing to consider. What if? And since this Deep Thought channel, we can speculate. What if somebody, despite everything, saw something, or some group or something saw something long term and say, hey, we got to force people to connect again? And I'm going to get more into that in the next one, not the conspiracy aspect, but just, all right, what's the result, People ain't caught up. Yeah, people probably still watching TV and doing all that stuff. But like I said, I can go by what I see. And I'm seeing people walk out here with their families, spending time. There's been some places I would drive by, like I was driving by a Chick-fil-A the other day, and they normally not open on Sundays anyway, so they ain't even had a drive-thru open. But there was somebody sitting at their outside stuff, just chilling. A couple people having a little picnic right there. Near me is a pond, a duck pond, very busy duck pond. The geese and ducks love it to death. Plus got fish in it. I saw so many young people. It was like, man, I haven't seen that many people there. And they were just all around. They were all around the pond chilling. I had never seen that. Some were fishing. And I was just like, I'm seeing that a lot. And there's still people, despite what they're saying about social distancing and stuff, people still like, hey, people still need that contact. And that's the thing. Like people, it's like, that's one of the things. Yeah, we got to deal with that. We're going to have to deal with the recession. Yeah, we got to deal with the fear that's out there. We got to face that. But then I'm seeing some positive stuff come through here. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody were to put out a survey, like some a legitimate group study or something, and ask how many people, like the simple question, how many marriages were saved by this thing? Because one of the things when you have disasters like this, and I'm going to say disaster because it could have, like I say, it could have been some major terrorist attack. It could have been anything. When you get stuff like that, sometimes people look at all the other bullshit they got it going on in their lives and say, you know what, that was some bullshit. Because imagine, let me give you a hypothetical example. Say you had that couple. Say they making, say put together they making over 6 figures, well over 6 figures, live in a nice neighborhood, but they working so much. They got their kids in private school, all of that, right? And, the family ain't really connecting. And that's actually a prominent thing. That's a very prominent thing. All of a sudden, the school's closed down. Somebody got to be there with the kids, even though they could afford a babysitter probably. But then one of their jobs might shut down, send them home, depending on what they're doing. Or at least say, hey, you got to work from home now. All of a sudden, they at home. All of a sudden, they got to interact with each other differently. They got to interact with each other differently. All of a sudden, they might start talking and stuff. Because there's a lot of couples, there's a lot of marriages where it's really more of a business. It might have been love or lust that brought them together, but it's a business. And, to get into a routine of work and how they rear their child, things they do, they ain't really connecting. All of a sudden, they connecting again. All of a sudden. And all of a sudden, I think if somebody put out something, they might see the families are stronger. That's why I say on that slight conspiracy thing, somebody might have had a plan. And in fact, there are people out there who see this is bringing some good stuff, but I'll get into it later. But that's the most important thing. I'm seeing that. And, I know there's been some people, they're talking about the whole, they'll institute martial law or something, but I think there would be a serious repercussion for doing that because most people are staying in the house anyway. But I think you're getting something better when people are connecting, when they're going out for a walk and they not around other people and everything. They're exercising, they get more air. And on a deeper level, and you know how I go off on tangents on this channel. Over in Italy, I saw somebody taking a satellite image of the pollution over there. They said before the virus and then afterwards. And they're talking about how the waters in the Venice over there were getting clear. So I'm like, But as I said in the truth thing, I don't know anything. I'm just saying I can't say that's truth or whatever. I don't know. That's pure speculation, right? But as far as the end result, but whatever the case, people are connecting during this whole time. And that's the most important thing. So anyway, that's all we have for now. Just think on this. Peace and blessings.